Anybody hears that? Anybody don't know, I got the loud chair tonight. It's a loud one. Yeah, it's loud. We are waiting for the stream to show up. Stream's not cooperating. Hello. We don't need any more of that. Hi, everybody. Let's start the show off, I guess. It is January the 27th, 2015. I'm Dana Durnford, and I'm also known as a nuclear proctologist. And we interrupt our regular broadcast to bring us a story. Hi, everybody. To bring us a story, I got to close down the stream going into the computer because we know we're streaming. So that's the best we can hope for. The chat room is kicking. Hi, everybody. And it always takes me a few minutes to get these streams up and running. And what we have is it's an unusual stream. And so we have people that have died. We have 13 children now that don't have a dad. And these were adopted, I guess. And my apologies for not being as knowledgeable as most people would be about the nuances and the minutiae of this. Because what I'm talking about tonight, I think is really important. So that's why I'm here. And also, I'm reading the comments, and I know the trolls are in overdrive on this one, and there's many reasons why they're in overdrive on this one. We're going to go through a couple of videos here tonight about this, and we have a witness who was in the vehicle, and the vehicle was shot over 110 times roughly, over about a 5-minute period. Nobody fired back, so that was a turkey shoot. They had people in the tree line, so this was an ambush. They had snipers. And when people tried to surrender, they got shot. And when they fell on the ground, they got shot several more times. The media is reporting it was a shootout. It wasn't a shootout. And the media is reporting they don't know who fired first, but the only people that fired were the so-called authority. And the only way the authority understands anything is to shoot you and kill you, apparently. Because every time someone disagrees with the police or the FBI, they get shot and killed. And then the media comes out and accuses people of things that they didn't happen. And then the demonization machine goes full tilt and victimizes the victims before there's any kind of investigation. But the loved ones will read those comments. And the people, the troll, I shouldn't call them troll, I suppose. I should call them the PR firms for the police departments, and usually new recruits and that. Their job is to go out and defend no matter how hideous and hideous the crime was committed by the so-called authority. And so that's what we're here to talk about tonight, besides a few other things along that way. And now the police will use the chat room to find subversive people. And so if you lash out at the police here in the chat room, you're going to get put on a list or something like that. And that's just, they like doing that. It's called intelligence gathering. And it's a standard. They'll put out a salacious video on purpose. Sometimes they'll fake it. And then they'll tempt people to put salacious comments there. And because it isn't outrageous, but it's the whole system is really messed up. And so it's a really, I keep using that word tonight, but it's a very important video that we're talking about. Now, what is a militia? A militia... And so a lot of people out there that are in the militia movement probably don't even realize what their actual duty really truly was, because it's been hid away from them and it's been watered down on them, and and a lot of times they're going on what they hear from the people involved in the movement, and they take that. It's kind of like the military. Very rarely people in the military will read the Constitution, for instance, or very rare for police to read the Constitution and understand that there is laws that are created that are not constitutional and that they don't have to enforce them, and that they have, the blue wall of silence to protect them, but they still choose to enforce those laws. And so if you go into the average courthouse in America or Canada or any other country, not just blaming Americans, police, or anybody in particular, in one context, this particular part of it, you'll find the court system is full of people that are the victims of society, that went to public schools and got zero education, that were never given an opportunity because the opportunities were always given to the what I always call the government inbreed. So the government inbreeds will get the trucks in the community for the summer jobs. Their children will. The government's kids will get all the little breaks. They'll get the full dental, full health care paid for by the taxpayers. The justice systems, the jails are mostly full of people from smoking marijuana or something. And it's such a stupid law, but they got no other... the police are not going to protect you. They're there, right, to take pictures of your body after. And so there's this whole dysfunctional through this machine out there that's known as corporate personhood is what's caused most of these issues. Maybe I'll cover that a little bit later. But corporate personhood is... So Google can't go to jail, right? The company can't go to jail. And then, say, Eric Smith can't go to jail because he works for a corporation with a legal amendment to the Constitution. So the police can't go after them, and he won't. And they could, and it's an illegal amendment to the Bill of Rights, or to the Americans' Constitution. So this is important too. I'm not digressing, I'm jumping around a little tiny bit, I know, for you, but there's a lot to talk about coming up in this next hour, over this next hour. And so what happens is Eric Smith can't get a criminal record, and he can't go to jail, and he can't get a fine, and he can't get a reputation where he can't get a job somewhere else. And Google can't have that happen to him either. All they can get is a fine, but the fine is paid from taxes that are put in offshore accounts because they got an illegal amendment called corporate personhood, and they got certain... And so the police, have created, and the FBI have created this big divide by allowing this illegal amendment to the Constitution. Now, that has spilled over into Canada and the Bill of Rights and to the UK's Magna Cartas. So a militia has a real important part. It's not about getting on someone's land, though. And so I know that's going to anger a lot of people, but hear me out for a second. So a militia job, and, they've been denied their job, and that's been taken over by the cadets and places like that into the community, say, for instance, different organizations, the Scouts and the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. But a militia was supposed to be a self-armed force supported by the community, and that if they had a corrupt government official and the authorities weren't able to get rid of them, the militia would go down and remove them from their jobs. And because they had the evidence that this was corruption, they presented the evidence, they removed them from their jobs. And that includes police. Their job was to take on the police. And take them on because the federal police wouldn't get rid of the corrupt police that were abusing people in the community. And so police kill around 1,500 people a year in America or something. And no police has ever really been convicted of any crimes. And because if you convict a police officer of a crime, then all his previous cases come into dispute and up for appeal and all kinds of other things. And so they work like hell that doesn't happen to them. But that wasn't the way it was supposed to be. A police was supposed to give another police officer a ticket if he didn't wear a seatbelt. Right? Because they have to obey the law too. They can't go speeding down the road without their emergency indicators going. But they do that stuff. And they abuse the population. So there's probably around 600,000 people a year in America that gets picked up and thrown down on their heads till they're unconscious. But let's go back to the story and listen to a video. And so the first video is from a witness who was in the car. And we're going to play that. Here we go.
Had like a laser on us. They're like, turn out the car and...
Now I'll be cutting it off here and there, and we'll talk a little bit.
He put his hands up and went so they could see he didn't have it. Then he's like, but I'm not. He's like, I'm not. He's like, we're going to talk to the sheriff right now. He's like, you guys can follow us there, that's fine. He's like, but we're talking to the sheriff. He said, either you can put a bullet through my head right now and get it over with, or we're going to talk to the sheriff.
Now she was in the car, the vehicle, truck, and she tells A completely different story than the media is telling you. And she provides the evidence, and somewhere in the near future we will get the evidence, but right now it's not available, and when it was searched for it. But I'll explain that as we go through this.
And they were like, no, and so then they're like stepping it up, and a bunch more guys are coming out, and they're all pulling their guns out. And they were like, we have women in the car. We have, because there's me and this other lady in the car that I don't know real well. But we have women in the car. It's like, get the women out of the car. Get the women out of the car. And they're saying...
So they want a shootout. Get the women out of the car. And this plays true as we go through. This is a very harrowing, very terrifying, unbelievable moment that took place here. And that's why we're doing the video tonight. I don't want to do this video tonight, trust me, but I have to do the video tonight because I looked at this and we have to have a conversation.
And Ryan Payne was like, he was in the front seat. Ryan Payne is amazing. He is incredible. But anyhow, so he was like, he said he put his hands out the window because he was trying to talk to them. He's like, he wanted the guy to just, he's like, I don't know if it's worth it. He's like, so he put his hands out the window and he said, we have women in the car, at least let the women get out. And he stuck his head out and they shot at him.
Stuck his head out of the car saying, we got women, and all the men had their hands out the window. And they shot at him. Now, they had snipers in the tree line. So let's keep going.
But they missed him, or like he talked just in time. So they didn't hit him. And then they're like, oh, they mean business. They're going to shoot us. And so Ryan decided to get out of the car and try to go talk to them. And so he gets out of the car, and then the guy tried to like talk to them. The driver was like, I'm just going to drive. So I'm just going to talk to the sheriff. And he's like, so either shoot me now or leave us alone. And they were just like, turn the car off and put your hands up on it and all stuff. So finally, he decided to just drive. So we all got down on the floorboard, and he took off, and then they started firing at us.
Right, and so they haven't committed a violent crime at this point. It wasn't a normal traffic stop. This was a takedown, and that they had already fired at him once. No one was given an opportunity, and that's probably what anybody rational would have done, was drive away at that point. These people were definitely not trying to arrest you at that stage, and that they were trigger happy, and that gets explained as we come up.
They were shooting us a bunch of times. And then they had a roadblock set up, and so he ran into a snowbank, and they were like riddling the car with bullets. And then they, like when we crashed, they stopped for a second. He got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, and rest. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead.
And
they shot him like right there because he was just walking with his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God.
So he was surrendering. He's not posturing. He's not reaching in his jacket. He got his hands in his ear. He said, shoot me, which is not unusual. But there's a lot of them. There's a massive amount of them. They got snipers in the woods, and they shot him. That is murder. They should turn that guy over to the militia.
He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.
And then they shot him more. They shot him 3 times when he was up in the air and 3 times on the ground, by the sounds of things. 6 times altogether. Somebody who's surrendering. So this is why all the media come out and said there was 3 shots fired. This is why the media come out and said there was a shootout. This is why the media come out, and every one of them tells a different story. But none of them tells this one, so let's keep playing it.
And then they bombarded our vehicle with bullets. Ryan got hit in the shoulder. We were laying there on the floorboard, screaming.
And so they shot over 110 shots, roughly, hit the vehicle. Over 110. And that would indicate, because we know how bad the shots these guys are, they probably fired 500 or 600 shots.
And they gassed us like 5 times. and they kept trying to shoot us, and their angle was bad, so.
No one's shooting back at them. They just keep shooting and shooting. Just listen to this. This is incredible.
I don't know. We were praying like so hard, and we were screaming like, "Stop! Please stop! Please stop!" And they were just riddling us with bullets. They kept gassing us over and over, and we couldn't breathe because of the gas. And we were trying to find something white so that we could put a white flag out, and then.
And they were shooting, and they shot for over 5 minutes at them. They wanted to slaughter them. That wasn't a turkey shoot. That was an attempt to slaughter. Nobody's firing back. They got a guy on the ground. They already shot him 6 times. This was an ambush on the side of the road. And now they're out there, and we're going to play their side of the event after.
I was trying to see, because Ryan knew he had got hit in the shoulder. So he was like, well, I don't think it's too bad, though. So we were just trying to find a way to get out there. And then they, hold on a second. I'm waiting for them to call me back.
Listen, Victoria, I recorded your testimony.
So that was somebody with really heavy breathing that time. It was a private number. It was somebody just phoned me up with really heavy. You can hear them. They're really mad. They're really upset. Let's keep playing this.
Oh, okay.
All right, because if anything happens to you, I think it's really important to have that.
All right.
Okay, so let's just get this clear. Mr. Finnecombe's hands were in the air when he was shot.
Hands up!
Yes.
Don't
Was he
shoot.
standing?
So hands up in the air. Let's be clear about this.
We saw him face up. I mean, his hands were still up after he was dead.
Okay, they shot him and he went down, then they shot him again on the ground?
Yeah, they shot him like at least 6 times.
The newspaper reports are just saying that 3 shots were fired, but that's a bunch of...
Right, and I've seen that. I went out and read that. It's easy to find it out there.
That's not true.
No, are you kidding me? They shot at least 120 shots probably altogether.
Okay.
They were shooting the car, like a lot.
What side of the windows were the windows blown out on, the left or the right side?
Left.
Left side, okay. And
They kept hitting the right. They kept hitting the right side of the car too, but they didn't blow. Like the windows didn't come out. Like they were hitting the metal instead of the glass.
okay. And so not one shot was fired by anybody in the car or by a Lavoie?
No one even touched their gun.
No one touched their gun?
That's a different number. That's a different number. That's unknown. Hello? Hello? What can I do for you? I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? They hung up. There's a 30-second delay on that end, right? There's 2 different numbers. Let's keep going. That was pretty weird.
One pulled their gun out. No one touched the guy. We had no rifles. A couple of the guys had sidearms on, but no one touched them. In fact, they had their hands out the windows.
So they had their hands out the windows, and the police were firing away, boom, 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 from every direction, it seemed like. And 5 to 10 minutes, she says.
Oh, they were not firing. They weren't nothing.
Okay, so when
we showed no aggression at all.
When Ryan Bundy was shot, both his hands were out the window and his head was out the window?
And let her finish that sentence.
No, at the time he was on the floor of the car because that was when they were shooting at our vehicle. We couldn't get out of the car or we would have been dead.
Because there was a barrage. They didn't want him to surrender. They weren't trying to get him to surrender. And so you come out and talk about it, and you get 2 disturbing phone calls, threatening phone calls, right out of the blue, just like that.
Right, okay. And so how many police vehicles or how many vehicles would you say were involved in this encounter? FBI vehicles, etc.
I didn't count. I was really shooken up when they got out. But we all noted that there was, like, a ton of vehicles. There were, I don't know, maybe 40?
And so the media is also reporting that this happened during a routine traffic stop, right? And that was the Daily Mail. That was up at Drudge or whatever. So it got a lot of traction reporting that this was but it wasn't. They had people in the woods shooting at them too. The FBI was there, the police was there, and other media's reporting it was a takedown. So there's so many stories out there that because that man has so many children, I'm not going to sit here and allow that to happen to those children.
Okay.
There was tons, and there were people in the trees. Like it was an ambush. It was a set-up ambush or something because there was like people in the trees, FBI snipers and people.
That's exactly what that was. They probably had drones up there too. They were stalking them the whole time. And then they come out in the media. We'll play that for you after the other version.
In the trees, because we saw them. They're all pointing their. Like I had like 20 lasers on me when I was getting out of the car.
Okay. So Lloyd got out of the driver's seat and he
Well, when he crashed into the snowbank, then he immediately got out of the car. He had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then, because he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go down. He didn't want to. But he did not. He just had his hands in the air. He's like, are you just going to shoot me? And then they just shot him.
Well, what she's doing is speculation. She's upset, and she just lost someone close to her and was traumatized by this machine, this meat machine that is. We're going to keep playing that. So a malicious job, say, if there was a corrupt person in the community, was to remove them from their job, not violently, but if necessary, that was necessary. But to remove them from their job and have somebody else in the community that was capable of fulfilling that role take over that job till they can post a want ad and hire someone permanently to replace that job. So if they had someone there that was corrupt, the malicious job was to oversee the corruption of the government and the police, which are two separate entities, but work together. But they got corporate personhood. And corporate personhood is an illegal amendment to the slavery law through increments over decades by corporate lawyers to give corporations human rights. And because of that, no one could be held accountable, right? The FBI is a corporation, police are a corporation, the mayors of communities are heads of corporations, so they can't be held accountable. But that's not how Constitution, Bill of Rights, and the Magna Cartas are supposed to work. Let's keep running through that.
And how many shots would you say that were fired when they shot him the first time?
The first time that he was shot?
When they shot him, did you hear multiple rounds?
Yes, I did. He got hit by several people. It was simultaneous, and we were like, what? We couldn't believe it. It shocked us because he had his hands in the air. We couldn't believe that they were actually going to shoot him. And we were like, what? Is he dead? Is he dead? And then I was like, because we knew that he had gotten shot, we couldn't hear him, and I was like, then I screamed, I'm in him too, let me come out and help him, I just want to help him. And then they started firing at the car, the vehicle again, and then they wouldn't let us out. And, it was so scary.
About how long would you say they fired at the car before they finally stopped?
Somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes.
Right, so they don't see that there's a way around this. He wanted to go talk to sheriff. Let him go talk to sheriff. Where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? He's got 13 kids. He wanted to go talk to the sheriff because you guys were being crazy by pulling that stunt anyway. But then you come out and got the media to come out and say you only fired 3 shots and they probably shot first and it was a shootout, okay, corral. And that you're somehow never culpable, never guilty, never out of control, never guilty of doing something that you shouldn't be doing. It's always justifiable because you have a badge. And somehow that you work for us. You work for them. You work for the whole country. You say, and we'll cover that in a minute. Let's hang on.
Victoria, We're going to be
Yeah.
praying for you, okay? And
All right.
you know, I have this recorded because I fear for your life. I feel like if you were one of the few people, you're not under arrest, but you were a witness, a direct eyewitness
I
to
know.
what happened. So I wanted to get this down, and I wanted to document this as well as I could. Who was driving so Lavoie was driving the car, and Ryan was in the front seat.
No, Ryan Payne was in the front seat, but during the incident, he got out when they first stopped us. He stopped in the middle of the road and told them, "We're going to talk to the sheriff." He said, and then when they fired the first shot, it was actually at that point Ryan Payne had both his hands out the window and his head, and then they shot at him.
That was the first shot.
That was the first shot.
Okay, so
And that's when they knew that's when we knew that they were meant business, that they were serious, and that I'm talking to someone in Michigan that I live with. They're kind of recording this just in case something happens. So that was the first shot, and then he ended up getting out of the car because they stopped shooting. He got out of the car, and then after we started driving again, that's the shot. That's when they started shooting at us again.
Right, so you got out, they shot at him. What was he supposed to do? Let him kill everybody? The man was a hero, as far as I'm concerned. He didn't shoot back. He didn't pull the gun. He wasn't aggressive. He kept his hands up. And then the police don't care. The FBI don't care. They phone me up and mock me during a live stream. They go into the chat room right now and they mock us for even talking about it because that's all they can do. Because they're soulless, they're heartless, they don't have emotions, and they feel nobody can do anything to them, and that they've got away with so much, they've committed so many crimes against people. For them to come in and try to berate us for having a chat about it, it means nothing to them. It has no effect on them whatsoever. And so, in one sense, maybe the radiation will wipe out all of them first from Japan. That'll be about the only good thing that ever come out of Japan. But it's these people that cause the conflicts because they go out and incite everybody. And then the FBI and the police are there. And if you say something to them, they'll put you on a list and track you. So they're there to incite you in that chat room right now. And if you say something about what the police done and the FBI done, they'll aggregate that and try to use it against you later or even right now. Because they don't have they don't have anybody to hold them accountable. They feel that they're invincible. And they know there's no crime committed by what we're doing, but they're so maniacal, they're so twisted and demented, and they're so out of touch with their job and reality and their friends and their families and their loved ones, until one day when they retire, they look back and they realize that they were just useful idiots. They are insignificant. No one will ever remember them. They are lowest forms of life on the planet. And that any awards they accused, accolades that they have along the way, these were just cover-ups because of the crimes they were committing to try to give them some self-esteem. And that's what I mean. And so the people that went out and shot, on the side of the road when no one's shooting back at you and turned around and killed the people, they're in their little mind, their little tiny world, jacked up. They're justified. They don't see any big pictures. They don't see the damage to the police that they're causing. The police don't see any damage that they're causing by phoning me up live and trying to mock us in the chat room. They don't see that because normally people don't talk about it. But tonight's stream, they get a little bit of damage from it, blown back from it, because people are seeing it, and then they can understand that these people truly are out of control, and that they're the problem. They're filling up the court system with the most impoverished people in the community, and then the real criminals, which are protected by corporate personhood, are allowed to just destroy millions of people at a time with a stroke of a pen. And so they're so small-minded, they're so caught up in their little power world, and they think it's us against them when it's not. We don't want to. It was never like this. We always played ball with the police. We always played soccer with the police. We always helped the police if they had an issue, if they were broken down, or if they were trying to spot somebody. Now we wouldn't talk to them. Now we'll call our neighbor rather than call them. Because of the people that are in our chat room tonight are the very reason we're like that now. Because of the chat rooms out there about this, the police department and the FBI trolls that are in there are creating that environment by berating and attacking and vilifying people for trying to work out why did they say there was only 3 shots when there was over 100. Let's keep watching, because they know what they done is wrong, and that's why they're here tonight to harass us, and also to do intelligence to find out which people in my group might have a streak of anger in them for an injustice, and they can victimize them too. These are the bullies that were in the schoolyard breaking arms as children.
So, but we had lasers on us the whole time. They were ready to shoot.
Okay, so Ryan got out of the car. Did he ever get back in the car before he took off?
No, he was arrested, or he was taken into custody at least. I don't know if he was arrested, because all of us were taken into custody, and he was
And
with
charged
us.
to cover up their crimes.
Like, we all got transported together, and then they
So they can't
separated
come out
all
and
of
tell a
us.
story like she's doing,
And that's
basically.
Ryan Payne you're talking about.
Thank
Yes.
goodness she came out. Because, right, that's the idea, charge them with a big federal crime, a felony, and then they're afraid to come out and tell their version of the event, afraid because of their lawyers and prejudice, and they just traumatized and had their friends shot. And the militia's job was legal. The militia's job is still legal under your constitutions. It's still a legal entity, and its job is to hold these people accountable, because nobody else will or can. And their job was to be well armed, well trained, and they're the well respected people in the community. And then when it comes to the standing up for your community, and the thugs are reigning supreme like they do now, their job was to go take on that particular bunch of, because it wasn't supposed to be a whole system of inbreeding police and FBI, the people that feel like they're entitled and that are just constantly perpetuating crimes against us. It's the ultimate betrayal when the guy with the badge on is the guy you fear the most. That is exactly the society we now live in over the last 20 years, and it's getting out of control. And so the militia's job was to rein this in and make them think twice about committing these crimes. But they don't have any fear of the militia. They'll just gain stock them and wipe them out, shoot 100 rounds at the vehicle when there's no one shooting back at it, and have the media come out and apologize for them. And so we have to come out and talk about it. Let's keep going.
Okay, and where was Ryan Bundy?
He was in the back seat of the car beside me. I was actually, I had fallen asleep on him. I had fallen asleep on him right when we got pulled over. I was asleep, and then I woke up when the whole thing started going down.
So
He
you
was
were
sitting to the left of me.
okay. So you were in the middle,
Yes.
and then the other
Shauna
lady.
Cox on my right.
Who was?
Shauna Cox.
Shauna Cox on your right, Ryan Bundy on your left, and you were headed to go see the sheriff.
We were going to this meeting that was going on, so all of us sheriffs were going to sing, and the sheriff was going to be there, and a bunch of ranchers. We were just going to try to talk and maybe do some negotiations, and we were going to sing. And so that was all, and then we were ambushed. I mean, it was known that we were going to go, so
It was an ambush.
they probably just decided to choose that area, maybe because it was really wooded and everything, and we didn't have any phone service. So,
Okay, let's run over and listen to their version.
Any moment now, the FBI will be giving a news conference about the standoff that has now turned deadly against the activist holding a government building hostage, a federal government building hostage. The group has been there now nearly for a month. CNN's Sarah Seidner is just outside that wildlife refuge where all of this has been going down. Sarah Seidner, tell me what you know.
We have just gone through an extremely thorough checkpoint here outside the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge. The FBI is here. They have...
Because they know they done something real bad. And they probably done it on purpose to incite as much violence as possible. That's why they shot so many rounds at the vehicle. They tried to kill the women in the vehicle right away. I mean, this was hair trigger. This was, come on, I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you. Now you can't surrender, I'll kill you, and then they kill you. Doesn't matter that Buddy said, go ahead and shoot me. He's entitled to say that. Your job is not to act in anger. Your job was to arrest him. You're going to meet all kinds of obnoxious people. I'm not saying he was. But
cordoned off the area. This is the first time that we've seen this, so there's certainly a difference.
So the police blocked off 25 miles on each side of where they shot the truck up because they didn't want pictures of that getting out. And I couldn't find pictures of it because that doesn't sound like 3 shots that the media told you when you see a truck full of holes, right? So they wanted to control the narrative. And that's why the trolls are here tonight on any of the other blog. And these are soulless people. The trolls are the most soulless. I mean, they just phoned me up twice during the live stream.
Different mood about and a different move afoot from the authorities here. What we can tell you is that earlier on we were closer to the headquarters there, and that the folks that have decided that they are going to stay put are starting to use some of the equipment, the federal government equipment that's inside those buildings that they've taken over, and they're digging and they're using them to block the roads. For example, there's a huge front loader that's blocking the road that goes up to the headquarters to stop any authorities from being able to easily access them. And as you mentioned, you know, there's a lot of nerves right now. People are pretty nervous about what might happen because there were 8 arrests in the past 24 hours. And during one of those arrests, when they pulled over a car outside of the refuge, they were driving somewhere towards Burns. They got stopped, pulled over, and in that car...
Sarah, let me just jump in and cut you off. That news conference has just begun. Let's talk on the other side.
The FBI, along with our partners with the Harney County Sheriff's Office, the Oregon State Police, and the many other state, federal, and local agencies that we have been working with, have had a very deliberate and measured response. We have worked diligently to...
Had a deliberate and measured response. You fired 110 rounds at people that weren't shooting back at you, sir. 110 rounds, sir. And you know that, sir. How can you say those words? What planet do you live on? What little tiny rock do you live under? That just pissed me off.
Bring the situation at the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge to a peaceful end.
110 rounds at people that weren't shooting back to you, at you. How is that a peaceful end? 110 rounds at someone that's not shooting back. What planet are you from, man? And this is the problem. The police should arrest him for coming out and lying to everybody. Because all he's creating is all these people upset about this. Because everybody's saying that's a liar. The police are not going to go arrest him. No, he's one of us. We're not going to arrest him. We kill you. Put your hands up. Don't care. We kill you. Does everybody got to get armed and start dealing with this or what? Is that what they're trying to drive people to do? Because you can't come out and lie to everybody. You're supposed to arrest the guys who shot without getting shot at first. Yeah, that's your friends, but that's murderers. They try to murder somebody. Someone shoot at you, you want them arrested. Yeah? You'll call in county after county after county SWAT team and you'll whack them. But if you do it to somebody else, oh, it was fair and measured. Well, we only fired 110 rounds. We weren't worried about it. They weren't going to shoot back. They knew we'd kill all of them then. Let's keep listening to whatever that creature thinks he is.
But because this is an ongoing investigation, there are many specifics we cannot talk about at
like 110 rounds in the truck instead of 3.
this time. There are still people illegally occupying Malheur Refuge at this point.
Yeah, and how? Is that a death sentence? Is the only solution you can come up with is to mass murder people like you tried in that truck? You ran out of steam after 110 rounds, I guess, or that's what hit the truck, but a couple of hundred more rounds, you can be sure. You're not intending on peaceful. You ambushed them. You were intending on a firefight. You know they weren't going to get into a firefight with you, and they didn't. Shocking.
I will say that the armed occupiers have been given...
That didn't fire at you. That legally you're allowed to have a gun. They didn't fire. But no, they're armed occupier. Hang on.
Any moment now.
that we could do so peacefully and safely out of harm's way of the citizens here in the county.
It's a friggin' good thing. That had happened in a neighborhood, there wouldn't have been a house there, out there with a cork trying to put in the bullet holes. And bringing their kids to the hospital. You shot a couple of hundred rounds at someone that didn't even shoot back at you, and you say it's a peaceful resolution? That's the problem. I mean, this right there, and the whack jobs who phoned me up during this stream, and in my comment section trying to ridicule people for saying, hey, wait a second, that was a crime. And they know it's a crime. Their job is to cover it up. They don't care it's a crime. No, Bundy and them created a crime. Our guys done what they gotta know, man. Right? You'll hear it coming up in a second.
Removing the threat of danger from...
Removing the threat of danger by firing 110 rounds at 8 people that didn't fire back at you. Were with their arms out the window surrendering. What kind of planet are you from? You don't get respect because you got a badge. You get respect because you earned it. You didn't earn it today.
Any moment.
They had ample opportunity.
Yeah, their arms out the window as you're banging away at them.
The last several months will continue for a while longer. If the people on the refuge want to leave...
Why would they trust you? Of all people, why would they trust your department? You already showed them what you think that you're capable of. Come out and tell everybody, oh no, it was only 3 rounds. They shot at us, we shot back, somebody died. Meanwhile, it turns out it was a slaughter. It was an assassination. It was an ambush. It was the lowest form of life imaginable. And now here you are covering it up. It's despicable. You're the most despicable thing, man, I've ever seen.
They're free to do so through the checkpoints where they will be identified.
Where they will be identified. You need to be identified. Those people who kill them need to be identified and turned over to the militia, and then the militia can prosecute them properly. No one can trust you. You're not capable of being trusted. You fill your prisons up with the most impoverished people in the community, and you let the thugs and the banksters and everybody steal everything. Your job was to go catch them. Your job was to stop that. Your job is to stop that and investigate it. You've never done it yet. Your job is to investigate corruption and police abuse. Never done it in your fucking life. Not a single time.
If they have questions or concerns...
Yeah, you went to Iraq and you created 5 million refugees, 5 million orphans, millions dead, millions missing. For what? To get 10,000 bad guys, the Taliban. You got 290,000 rapes in the military. You don't bother investigating that. You got 22 suicides a day, 80,000 in the last decade to get 10,000 gangbangers. You got 22,000 drone strikes in another country to get whatever's left of 10,000 gangbangers. But your job is out to get somebody who says the government is leaving too big of a footprint, that the government is out of control, that the government doesn't exist, that only a bunch of thugs whose only solution is violence. Their solution wasn't violence. They didn't shoot. They said they were willing to protect their right under the Constitution that you ignored repeatedly during that press conference.
They can contact the negotiators on the telephone number that has been provided to them.
Right, and so you just heard him lie over and over and over. He should be arrested and prosecuted and lose his job and lose his pension. Instead, they all gather around him. Oh, boss, I know you're weak-kneed from telling all those lies, but we'll hold you up.
As I conclude, I want to share my promise to the citizens of this county, to the people who live here, who work here, who are raising their families here,
You're next.
that we will continue to look for safe, peaceful procedures and how to bring this to a peaceful conclusion.
Hey, you've had this organization for how many decades? You can't work out something yet? You sound like the nuclear industry. Oh, we learned a lot of lessons off the last accident. Look, you never even tried for a safe conclusion. You fired at people that wasn't firing back at you. You fired at people to the point of where you riddled their entire vehicle full of bullets for 5 to 10 minutes. And you want a peaceful resolution. To what?
We recognize that the sooner we do so, the sooner this community can begin to heal.
How can you heal from something that you just done? How is his 13 kids going to heal from what you just done to him? You shot him 3 times after he hit the ground. You shot 100 times into the truck. You turn your back on your friends and your families and your loved ones so you can stand in front of a camera and lie to his loved ones.
Thank you.
You're not welcome, man.
Good morning. My name is Bill Williams, and I'm the U.S. Attorney for the District of Oregon. I've been coming to this county for the last 15 years on behalf of the U.S. Attorney's Office.
And you fill the jails up with the most impoverished people in the community for crimes that are not even worth going to jail for. And you signed off on every one of them until you got that job. You are a perpetual misery machine, if nothing else.
For various work-related responsibilities. And through that time, I'm keenly aware of the concerns that are important to this community.
If you were, you wouldn't have shot people 110 times who weren't shooting back at you, sir.
I have seen firsthand the passion in this community that it has for its way of life. Clearly, this has been disrupted by the armed occupation.
They've been disrupted by your occupation. You moved people out of their houses and took over their houses. You stopped everybody in roadblocks and safety checks that you call it, gathering data. You snooped on everybody's cell phones and computers.
The FBI, Harney County Sheriff's Office, Oregon State Police, Oregon Sheriff's Association,
all turned their back on the law, every one of them.
And numerous law enforcement agencies
Tried to assassinate 8 people in a truck and kill the father of 13. And don't have any bad feelings about it whatsoever. Yeah, well, he should have died before we had to shoot that many bullets. He should have walked out so we could have shot him. He's not allowed to defend himself. You are allowed to defend yourself if you're being attacked. They could have shot back. If they had killed everybody and went to a fair trial, they would have won because the police shot first.
from around the state had been working very hard to resolve this situation in a peaceful manner.
Yeah, 110 rounds. You had no intention of peace. You didn't even let them try to surrender. You peppered them for 5 minutes straight.
To stop the threats to public
Cowards.
safety and to end the significant disruption this has caused to the people of Harney County.
Yeah, because you harassed and stalked and molested everybody in that community. Drove him insane till he lashed out.
We continue working towards resolution and will do so.
Yeah, we got another 500 rounds ready to
The
go.
primary goal of restoring normalcy to this community and highlighting the already existing cooperative efforts of local and federal partners in this county to address their own issues, both locally, federally, and state.
Tell us about how you just shot at people who were surrendering for 5 minutes. Tell us how you feel about all those kids when they go to the funeral. Tell us how good that makes you feel, because that's the reality. It makes you feel good. You don't have any remorse. You're there to cover up. Your job is, oh, no, they shot us, we shot back, somebody died. No, no one shot back. You shot over 110 rounds that hit the truck.
There are currently 8 people in custody, 7 in Oregon, 1 in Arizona. They will have their initial appearance here in Oregon for the 7 in Oregon at 1:30 p.m. before a federal magistrate. At some time in the future, the defendant in Arizona will come to Oregon for future court proceedings.
Yeah, and will they be told it was 3 shots, or will they be shown the truck? And then will they say, okay, well, the police came out and lied and said there was only 3 shots. We got to have them arrested. They're involved in a cover-up. We want them off the force right now. Are you going to do stuff like that? Are you going to hold anybody accountable? Are you going to say, you just come out and lied in all the media and demonized everybody, and then you even done it in, the armed militia that never shot and that was entitled to carry a weapon? Utter betrayal.
As Mr. Bretzing announced last night on behalf of the FBI, these 8 people were arrested for the federal felony offense of conspiracy to impede officers of the United States from
conspiracy to impede. All those people in that truck weren't guilty. None of them were. None of them were accused of a crime outside of impede. Oh, they were going to impede the officers. That never had nothing to do anyway. They would have ran out of steam after a few months. There was nothing to be gained. There was nothing to be gained by a slaughter. But you went looking for a slaughter. When one didn't happen, when they didn't shoot back, you all unloaded, including the snipers. It was an ambush. But you have no remorse. He has no remorse. He's there with a cover story.
Discharging their official duties through the use of force, intimidation, or threats.
Isn't that what you do? Isn't that how you work all day long? Isn't that why hundreds of thousands of people complain about every year, that you abused them and there's no one to hold you accountable? And so isn't that intimidation? Isn't that threats? Wasn't phoning me up earlier in the show trying to intimidate me and threaten me? 2 different times in my chat room at the same time. Because I dare talk about this subject. How dare I criticize you? The man who impoverished a planet with his
This is an ongoing investigation, and we will not be commenting on the case. Instead, we will let the publicly filed documents in the case speak for themselves.
You'll doctor the documents till everybody's story is sweet and rosy. But hey, you come out and told everybody there was 3 shots fired and there's over 100. You told everybody it was a shootout and nobody shot back at you. And who's going to arrest you? Who's going to hold you accountable? Who's going to call you on it? The media is not. No, they put you up there, rosy picture. No counter argument for you.
In closing, I want to thank the federal, state, local,
covering
and
your
tribal
ass.
law enforcement officers
For continue to cover
and
your
agents
ass.
who are working very well
And
together
filling the
to
jails up to the
support
most
this
impoverished in the
community
community.
and this effort. I want to thank the
Because you
people
couldn't arrest a real
of
criminal
Harney
you wanted
County
to. You're too
and the Burns
stupid.
Paiute tribe for their patience and their passion for
There's
returning
one more
this
milk piece
community
coming
to
up after
normalcy.
this.
We will continue working around the clock until this
To
matter
cover it up. You got everybody out there telling a different fucking story. On purpose. They're all released by the police department is releasing different stories throughout the medias. Everybody's quoting a story from the police and it's a different story. The real one's here
is
tonight.
appropriately resolved.
Probably resolved? Probably resolved. If you can hear the screeching in that house tonight, you would know that day will never come. Go hang your head somewhere else, you ugly creep. You're ugly inside, not outside, buddy. I don't care what I don't. It's just your vocals are so ugly and disingenuous.
Good morning, I'm Sheriff Dave Ward.
Hi, Sheriff. How are you going to spin it?
I've been working on peaceful resolution to this problem since November 5th.
Yeah, and in that period, how many people were abused in the community by the police while they were setting up their ambush? I wonder.
When several of the individuals arrested yesterday came into my office.
Right now, they're violating everybody's rights on the side of the road. No matter who you are, if you happen to be driving through there, they're going to fuck with you. They don't care about your rights. Let's get that straight. They don't care. But they're going to hear and pretend that they do.
They had ultimatums that I couldn't meet.
Why not? You know what a constitution is? You looked at your legislation. That's not true a constitution. To administration. And you said, oh, we're not allowed to do this. We can do that. We can kill everybody and anybody. And we can come out and tell the media we only shot 3 or 4 times and they shot at us first or shot back or whatever. I don't care. Meanwhile, you shot 110 rounds. That's a betrayal, man. You're a betrayal.
I'm here to uphold the law.
Yeah, if you're here to uphold the law, arrest the last 2 guys for lying about what happened. For saying they didn't shoot at anybody. And that we screwed up and we just whacked those people and we figured, kill one, might as well kill the rest of them. That way there's no witnesses. Because that's what you were trying to do, man.
I'm disappointed that a traffic stop yesterday.
It wasn't a traffic stop. It was an ambush. You had people in the woods. Prick.
That was supposed to bring peaceful resolution to this. Ended badly.
It ended badly because you're fucking insane with power. You're a thug. You shot at him over 100 times and no one shot back at you. You're fucking murderers. That's what you are. You know it. I know it. And anybody who watches the video knows it. It looks like the truck will know it.
Multiple agencies, law enforcement agencies, put a lot of work into doing.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to fire 110 rounds hitting a truck. How many times did you miss? We know how crappy shots you fuckers really are.
Putting together the best tactical plan they could.
Tactical plan. Just keep shooting till nobody's moving. Oh, he's trying to surrender. Shoot him! Shoot him for Christ's sakes! He's a militia! Shoot him! Oh! That's what they're doing. He got his hands up! Shoot for Christ's sake! Shoot before he put him back down! He's 10 times better shot than we are.
To take these guys down peacefully.
Yeah, with 110 rounds into the vehicle. You had some intentions to peaceful. You weren't looking. You had snipers in the fucking woods, boy. You're over the top. You're out of control.
And find some resolution to these issues that we're going through in our community.
It's you. You're thugs. People are afraid to go out into the streets because they see you out there. They're terrified because there's no one to hold you accountable. And the militia that tries gets set up, ambushed, and then riddled. And then demonized in the media. Oh, they were shootout. And shot out everything in Buddy's truck because they got shot out.
It didn't have to happen.
It had to happen because that is what ultimately will happen when people like you show up in the media and lie about it. That's all you got to do. Oh, fuck it. We'll just go lie in the media. I'll get a whole bunch of police around me, law enforcement. We'll all tell the same lie, and I'll go home and everything is good. It's just an utter betrayal in every sense of the word what they've done.
We all make choices in life.
Yeah, you made yours, didn't you? See, you fill your jails up with the most impoverished, and you let all the real criminals running around the community that you know who they are. They're protected by you. Do whatever they want. Impoverish these people over and over and over. You never hold a single one of them accountable. You don't hold any of your government officials that are ripping off the community accountable. You don't hold anybody in the mayor's office that is ripping off the community accountable. You don't hold any of the government social services that are fucking over the impoverished people accountable. Not a single time in our entire history have you held anybody accountable that was guilty. You went after the most victim. The people couldn't afford a lawyer, and you probably even set them up, which has been shown in many police departments. But what you've done right now today on TV is you come out and you demonized these people, you vilified them, and you avoided responsibility for assassinating one person and attempting to assassinate 7 others with 120 rounds or so into a vehicle where no one is shooting at you. It's either that or you're utterly cowards beyond imagination.
Sometimes our choices go bad.
Yeah, you made the choice on purpose. You said, we're peace, we're not going to put up with nothing. We don't got to negotiate with the slaves. They're slaves. They got no say. I'm sick of it. That's what you done. You call them slaves. You disrespected them. And how could you come out with a good outcome when you disrespect them? You thought low of them from the second you laid eyes on them, like you do with everybody else in that community. Don't eyeball me, I'll pull your fucking ass over, right? You don't have respect. You have this attitude. Us against them because you created that.
The occupation at the refuge and the actions of some of the folks down there have created a lot of stress in our community.
Yeah, because they don't want you fucking over everybody. They want you to get the fuck out of their faces. They want you to fuck off with this macho tough guy. I'm the law. And I'll just make it up as I fucking go and forget about the Constitution. Forget about it. You got any idea how many times you broke that in your lifetime? Piss me fucking off.
It hasn't just been isolated to the refuge. I think that's a point that gets missed quite a bit. Some of these folks have spent a lot of time in town trying to stir some issues within the community.
So now they're stirring up shit everywhere else. So go kill them. How dare somebody have another fucking view?
If it was as simple as just waiting out some folks down there to get out of some buildings, we could have waited a lot longer.
But they were in speaking to people. They were in giving people their side of the story, which the media never done today. Oh, there was 3 or 4 rounds in a shootout. Meanwhile, 110 rounds into a vehicle full of people that weren't shooting back. If I was there, I would have shot back. If I was sitting in that position, I'd take a couple of those out for sure. If I seen that in the corner, I would have got it to a big old fat chunky fuck like that. I would have knocked that down in a heartbeat. Someone's shooting at me, I got a gun, I'll be shooting back. I don't give a fuck what you got on. I'm not going to sit there and let you murder me. Not that I'm a good shooter, know what I'm doing. I'm just saying that if I was in that spot and they're shooting at me. But these people are better than me. These people are heroes. They didn't shoot back. They had every right to, but there was no way to survive it. You had a mass murdering team there ready to assassinate you. Shooting from the woods.
But this has been tearing our community apart.
Yeah, so why didn't you get the fuck off their land? Why didn't you leave them alone? Why did you figure you got to give everything to the federal government? Oh, they must be right. They can't do no wrong. Why didn't you investigate them and make sure what they were doing was legal? No, you took their words for it.
It's time for everybody in this illegal occupation.
It's time for everybody in this illegal department to be arrested and convicted of attempted murder and murder. They murdered the guy. You should go arrest him. That was murder. That was murder. That is murder. He was trying to surrender. And here you are out there blaming him for everything. Oh, he was trying to surrender. We had no choice but to shoot him. Well, we had to. He was trying to surrender. He had his hands up, for Christ's sakes. Yeah, we might have shot him a couple times after, but we're police. We're allowed to do that. We can come in and troll you and phone you up while you're live streaming and mock you and try to humiliate you and embarrass you and attack you. And we'll find other ways to get at you, Dana. We're not done with you yet, Dana. How dare you come out and talk about it, Dana? He's got 13 kids. Someone's got to come out and talk. I'm not going to sit here and allow these people to do that to that family. That family didn't deserve that. He was trying to surrender. We want the guy arrested. If you want any kind of resolution, you go arrest the cop who shot Buddy. shouldn't say that. I suppose you can call him by his name, but this, you know what I'm saying? Why do you think that the cop is not being charged with murder? It's the same reason these fucks are below me right now, spewing out their nonsense. They're not going to go charge the cop with murder. He didn't. He was surrendering. They shot him, killed him. That's fucking murder. Got a minute left. Let's go.
Move on. There doesn't have to be bloodshed in our community.
Right, so why do you do it constantly? Why are the prisons full of the most impoverished people in the community? Why do you think that a man with his hands up in the air was justified to kill him? Why do you say it doesn't have to be? You just fucking shot the guy 6 times who was surrendering, and you shot the vehicle full of people 120 times trying to kill him that weren't shooting at you. You were out of control.
If we have issues with the way things are going in our government.
Yeah? Oh, I smurfed it up. Hang on.
Into putting together the best tactical plan they could to take the isolated to the refuge. I think that's a point that if it was as simple as just waiting out some folks down there to get out of some buildings, we could have waited a lot longer. But this has been tearing our community apart.
Got his little script there, see that?
It's time for everybody in this illegal occupation
Another punk.
to move on.
He's a punk.
There doesn't have to be bloodshed in our community.
Well, you should have told the other cops that this morning.
If we have issues with the way things are going in our government, we have a responsibility as citizens to act on those in an appropriate manner.
People have, man. People haven't tried stopping. People are constantly trying to get some kind of communication with the system that won't communicate with them, that insists that they're above the constitutions or Bill of Rights or Magna Cartas, that insist they're above any kind of scrutiny, that insist that the checks and balances have them reined in and are able to control them, that insist that people that a murderer, that a police officer is no different than me or you. He's no different than me or you. I don't give a fuck about a badge. He's no different than me or you. And when he shot Buddy with his hands up, he abrogated his responsibilities right on the spot and deserved to be arrested and prosecuted and put away. And then the police here below don't recognize that, but the other side made him do it by putting his hands up. Oh, he put his hands up, we had to shoot him. That's all he got to work on. You heard the video before of the witness who was in the vehicle, put his hands up, that's all he done. And they fucking killed him. And this guy here below me, oh no, these were thugs.
We don't arm up and rebel.
You should arm up and rebel. You got no choice. You can't trust him. He didn't arrest the people. He allowed the murder to take place, and then he allowed it to be covered up. He's a fucking murderer. He's a fucking traitor. That's a traitor. He's no longer a cop. He's not under your authority of law anymore. We know there was more than 3 shots. In fact, about 120.
Work through the appropriate channels.
Like that has ever worked?
This can't happen anymore. This can't happen in America, and it can't happen in Harney County.
Yeah, but it happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. Millions dead, millions missing, millions in refugee camps, millions of orphans, millions raped to get 10,000 bad guys. Unbelievable carnage to get 10,000 people. How can you justify it? So yeah, it does happen. You allow it to happen all the time to other people, and then you do it to these people who didn't fire at you, who didn't shoot at you, who are trying to surrender.
Thank you.
You're not welcome. Don't give a fuck about you. You're an idiot. You just covered up a murder, and you blame the victims.
All right,
demonize the loved ones. Right? And so what are you? You're a traitor in every context of that word. You ain't doing your job. You let the cop walk who done the murder, which is probably the same guy who was here tonight blogging, one of the shooters. This is their job after a shooting. They get online and they try to stop any dissent. And they equate it with sedition. Right? Here, have some liberty. That's typical encounter now with the enforcement department. They're out there with their heads in the sand. They don't care. They don't have anybody to hold them accountable. And so we are screwed because cops are allowed to go out and tell the biggest fibs, and we are supposed to trust the wolf with the sheep clothing on. No. Hooks for everybody, particularly the loved ones, friends, the families, the ones that are hurting today, and particularly the loved ones of the deceased who was gunned down viciously and violently and without reproach, without no checks and balances, and that the police come out and the commissioners and the prosecutor, the district attorney come out tonight. I played those clips for you and told you, no, these were thugs, we had to kill them. But it was, we didn't do anything beyond what we had to do, but they fired 110 rounds. I kind of get a little crazy sometimes. I kind of yell sometimes. I get in that moment. I'm a Canadian. That's what Canadians do. We live in the moment. But I'm not going to withdraw my comments tonight for anything I said. And that if somebody don't come out and say it, what does that tell us about our species? And that I know nobody would come out and say it. And so I had to. Because that's sometimes the way it goes. And I normally cover nuclear technology and nuclear science only. And so tonight, I read those comments vilifying the victim who didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. He deserved his day in court. The law is not there to shoot you down when you're surrendering. The law is there to protect you from being shot down, even by their own members. And so the fact that they didn't arrest the guy right on the spot shows they have no intention of doing an honorable future or having an honorable career, or that they are contributing to law enforcement in any shape or form, and that they have betrayed the badge and their community and their friends and their families and their loved ones and their co-workers, and dishonored the entire institution in one heartbeat of a bullet. And they took the life of another man who didn't deserve to be gunned down like dirt, and who was definitely not a bad person, who adopted 13 children, for goodness sakes. Does that sound like a bad person? And that are wonderful, absolutely have a wonderful family, and we know that about him. And that he's considered a very gentle and nice person, but a person who believes that the system is out of control and was able to prove it and articulate it. And that is what scared them. Is that how dare somebody speak up to us? How dare somebody call us out? How dare somebody say no? We'll just set up an ambush and shoot the fucker if he doesn't cooperate. Hell with it. Don't even let him cooperate. Just shoot him down. No one's going to hold you accountable. And we live in that one time today on the planet where we have an opportunity to put out a version like we did tonight. A little haywire. That's the way it works. Hugs for everybody. Good night, everyone. Gil, Shanikin, High Lane. Hi, Emma. Kate. Hi, Kate. Right. Hi, everyone. Good night, everyone. Take care, folks. I'm going to give it up. I'm not going to try to get through all the names tonight. I wanted to come out and just make a statement for myself that I'm not going to sit here and cower, and that the militia is in a very important job, and that we don't want them to go away. We want them to show up in every community, and so the community can trust them and knows who they are and can support them, and they can be there if we do need to take back certain parts of our government, because that is the only option we have left. They're not going to police themselves, and the militia's job was to police them, and if necessary to get into a firefight with them, but not under these types of circumstances. Hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody when we get an opportunity. Next Fukushima comment. Yeah, good night, Jan. Hi, Jan. I seen your number there, honey. Sorry, I never got back. I done a film interview today And we'll talk about that later on next stream, hopefully. That came down from America, so it was a good interview. Really impressed, and they're interviewing some really good people, really shakers and movers out there. But they come a long way to see me and get that interview. So I got that over, and I'm really happy that they're able to get on their way and continue and finish off their documentary. It was a good day, but I had to come out and do that tonight. Yeah, I got to rest. My voice is shot. And like you say, I got arrested just a few weeks back with a slap suit, a slap lawsuit. It was a judicial version against public participation. So in order to silence me, they tried to bankrupt me, and they pretty well succeeded. And everybody wants to donate, you can donate at the nuclearproctologist.org with credit cards, or you can go to PayPal and type in Dana Durnford at hotmail.com. Hugs for everybody. I got to throw it out there because how else are we supposed to get something accomplished unless, as I remind and constantly ask. And that is not a big deal. There's 90 million people using the same venue as me, and they all got donate buttons too. I'm not out there by myself. Hugs for everybody. Good night, Thomas. Good night, everybody. We'll see everyone when we get an opportunity. Bye-byes.